Hello. I don't know how I go about this, Like, if anything, I'm just, like, super shy, but I kind of want to, like, put this question into, like, hypothesis, and kind of really, like, test out the means to live life. Because I always thought that it was structured in some way. I'm really trying to keep calm, because, like, again, it's recording myself. That's, like, so super shy to me, but I kind of just want to talk about the human mind, and kind of just explained how it helped me and kind of helped me speak like this, because I've never spoken like this in my life. I feel like I've been living under a rock for the past 25 years of my life, and I think when I turned 25, I feel like I discovered philosophy. And when I say philosophy, it was the question stemmed off by why am I mad? Why am I mad? You know? And so the first thing that a person told me was that it came from genetics. And so therefore I was like, okay, cool. Genetics, And again, it's an adult talking to you about these things, So anything an adult says, it has to be right, right? Like, no questions, We have to accept the truths. You know what I'm saying? And so we kind of think that life is shaped a way, but what if I told you that your fears, anxieties, and everything you feel is a lie? You know? Like, love is a lie, like, everything that you think is real is a lie, you know? And so you think you know it all. I always tell myself when I thought I knew something, but I don't. See what I'm saying? And I always felt like suffering was like such an embarrassment to my life, and if you really, really pay attention, I always kind of like, I remember, hearing this phrase, like there's no such thing as hell, hell is other people. And if you really figure it out, it is other people, whether it be lying to you, making you feel bad, and then you think is yourself, but it's not you, it's them. And sorry, I'm sweating, I'm just really shy about this, but it's an important message, and I feel like I'm super crazy talking about this, because every time there was a point in time where I feel like I got it, I was like, okay, I understand it. Let me go tell my cousins about it, and then I did, and just everybody thought I was part of the devil, and I was like, what's going on here? And I feel like as I was going to like this, I don't know if it's called like English literacy. I do not know at all. You know what I mean. Like, if anything, I just heard this dude called Joe, like Unsolicited Advice. Again, he just talks about philosophy of love, anger, and he pretty much just like covers like these topics. And then we think that they're significantly mean something to us, whether it be our soulmates, whether it be getting a job position that literally doesn't mean anything. Because I'm like, I always had this philosophy in my head, I was always like, how, like, why are therapists good at healing people at suffrage? I always ask people like, what is therapy? And it's like, I didn't really understand it too much, but it just really comes down to it's you going to somebody and just laying off your truths, to this person. And if anything, we're living in ego, you know? And I sound so crazy just talking about this, but I just want to make myself heard in some sense and kind of break it down, But again, I have to do this thing now, which I have read so many times and have watched so many lectures on this, and they're just saying just experience. And if anything, we are experiencing in this world, but we think it means something. And like if we have to chase it, and in order to chase it, we have to suffer, and in China, suffrage, what is it? Worry and fear was a disease, and why? Why are these diseases? Why are we not asking questions towards these things? And so, you know it all, I always say. And I think I want to just put this in. This is going to be my hypothesis. What if I'm reading this a lie? But what if it's a truth? What if it's a truth to what I'm reading and listening to? Again, this is just the first video, man, so obviously it looks fucking crazy. But if I'm really, really paying attention to what I'm learning, then I think if me just talking about this every single time doesn't mean anything, then be so. Then be so. And I don't mind if that's the case, because this is for me, I feel like. And if it's for me, then maybe this is my real self, and maybe you think I'm putting a facade, because nobody believes me at all. And that's fine if you don't believe me, but what if I can lecture this and help change somebody's life, because this has helped me change my life? And I know that life has no purpose, but what if this is my purpose? To just help somebody else, because a dude called Joe Foley helped me. He helped me so much, and he really changed my life. And now all I just do is do. And now I'm doing this to kind of just share my experiences, like maybe share my writing with you, because I never wrote in my life nor read. But why am I reading now? To put a performance? Again, if it's performance, that be so, But the thing is, if you let these people get in your head, you will never do anything that you want to do, and that's what I'm telling you. Stop living in this suffrage. Do it for yourself, dog. All these artists that you see on TV is because they've done it. They chose themselves, and some of them think that it's money, it's God. Be so if that's the case, but believe in yourself, man. Because these people, these fuckers, believed in themselves, and I think if we believe in ourselves, and if what I'm doing right now is believing in myself, then let's take back our control, and which is like to use our imagination. Create, somebody told me that, but I'm like, there's no such thing as creating. And now I'm doing this. This is art. But I'm from the Hispanic, I'm first generation Mexican. Culture is your enemy. You're not born to be the best workers, They told the donkey was one of the hardest workers, but I don't know how the saying goes, but if hard work pays off, then why is the donkey still working hard, You know what I mean? And so sometimes you look at these people and, they have these things, and it's like because they created something, but sometimes your ignorance just looks at their money, and then money just blurs it off. And it just becomes this. And now $100 is across my face. But if you remove the money from your face and you see yourself, what value do you see now? Maybe again, the lighting is not great, you know what I mean? I sound like a fucking crazy dude. Sorry for my profanity, but I've been shy to do these things, bro, and now I'm just doing it because I'm really passionate. I really am, and I really want to just do this if possible because I think I've been working so many years in my life, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, you know? So again, maybe I look like a crazy person just doing this, and if I do, then it did not work for me, and therefore I gotta choose something else, or maybe I gotta switch it up, right? Maybe I'm doing something wrong. And I will try and try this time. I just don't know what's the outcome, obviously, and I'm gonna still do my job because that's the ego's life, But what about me? I want to live my life now, but how do I do it? Obviously, this is not gonna happen from day and night, I can't obviously think about these things, But obviously, I think about it, and it does scare me. But if I think about that, then what? Do I let it consume me? And it's insane because I remember speaking about this in 2020, and I sound very different now. If you go back to the video, I sound very different. It's not the same person, bro. It's not the same person. Stop looking for love, dude. I'm still working on myself, and I will still try to become better. But we need to accept our lies within ourselves and then understand them, with or without the person, because there's patterns again. But let's help each other, and I think if we're just sincere with each other, we can come together. But hatred is always gonna spread like wildfire, bro. It really is, man. And again, this is my new presentation. My name is Eduardo Morales, and I used to hate my name. I used to be embarrassed of my name, and now I'm saying it with pure comfort because I'm comfortable in my own skin, and I'm feeling comfortable. And if you want to take that from me, cool. I'm everything I've heard. I'm gay, I'm fat, I'm ugly. Cool. Say more. I want to hear more. The more hate I get is the more you're looking at me. And I hope you do, but if you don't, thank you.